boxing is rock, paper, scissors, as the wire likes to say. It's chess, it ain't checkers. And Jean Pascal has been involved in a rock, paper, scissors situation himself during his career. Back in 2010, you may remember, Jean Pascal defeated Chad Dawson for the light heavyweight title. He then went on to fight Bernard Hopkins and lost to Hopkins. But then Chad Dawson came back and beat Hopkins. So you got a little triangle there, which is non-linear. That's the rock, paper, scissors nature of boxing. Just because fighter A beats fighter B and fighter B beats fighter C, it don't mean that fighter C can't beat fighter A. Could that be the case here with Jean Pascal fighting Sergey Kovalev? It's possible. It wouldn't shock me. Certainly there's been much bigger upsets, far bigger upsets than there would be if Jean Pascal beat Sergey Kovalev. But we're talking about likelihoods and probabilities here. And although Jean Pascal is unpredictable, he probably is one of the quicker guys that Sergey Kovalev would have faced. Probably the most unorthodox and unpredictable guy. And he's also physically strong. As much as he has all that going for him, and there's a bit of the element of the unknown in terms of from Kovalev's perspective, I still can't see past a comprehensive Kovalev victory. And the reasons why are mainly because Pascal has a low work rate and Pascal has some of the worst stamina I've ever seen on a light heavyweight. This guy gasses out so badly, it's mind-blowing. And if you look at even his performance against Lucian Bute, a fight which he was cruising, really. He wasn't in any danger or distress. He was fighting that fight at his own pace against pretty much a shop-worn Lucian Bute who has never been the same after he was cobraed by Carl Froch. And even in that fight where he was cruising and controlling the fight all the way through, he wasn't really being forced to work that hard. Late in the fight, he was so tired that he found himself on the ropes, just allowing Lucian Bute to tee off on him. I mean, some referees, if that was Howard Foster in there, he might have stopped it in Lucian Bute's favor. It's not that Jean Pascal was hurt, he wasn't, but he was still allowing the other guy to tee off and he wasn't throwing back for sustained periods late in that fight. Okay? And even in the Hopkins fights, I think it might have been the first fight. I can't remember if it was the first or second. I think it was the first. Pascal was seriously gassed late in that fight. And to me, it looked as though Hopkins was hurting him in there. Again, Pascal's got a good chin. But when you're fatigued, your punch resistance declines. And it was also the same in the fight that he won the world light heavyweight title in against Chad Dawson. He was the boss for most of that fight, but later on in the fight, he was gassing out and Chad Dawson was putting the pressure on and Jean Pascal looked very uncomfortable and very tired. So he has a history of gassing out. Yes, he has managed to survive the 12, so that has to be said. Also against Carl Froch, he managed to survive the 12 rounds. So yeah, he's a survivor. He's physically strong. He's got a good chin. It's difficult to get him out of there, but his work rate drops off dramatically. And I don't think he's ever been in there with a puncher like Sergey Kovalev. I'm sure Sergey Kovalev will be the most heavy-handed guy that Jean Pascal's ever faced in a professional boxing ring. Okay, I'm sure he hits a lot harder than people like Carl Froch and Chad Dawson. So, and you know, we know that Kovalev can cut off the ring. We know that Kovalev can keep the pressure on for 12 rounds, as we saw in the 12th against Hopkins. Although Kovalev didn't work very hard in the Hopkins fight. It was more a psychological game. He cracked Hopkins early in the fight and intimidated him, and then he was able to keep him in his shell. So he didn't really have to work that hard. So there's a possibility that he might have to work harder to keep Pascal in his shell, or to walk Pascal down, or to stop him. And because of Pascal's unorthodox attacks, he might find it difficult to get to him. Who knows? Who knows, man? It's going to be interesting to watch either way. But as I said at the start, if we're talking about probabilities and likelihoods, I think the most likely outcome is a solid, pretty commanding win for Sergey Kovalev. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Kovalev stop Jean Pascal late in this fight and be the first guy to actually stop him. So that's just my thoughts on the fight, pretty much my final thoughts. If you've got a different take on it, if you think that Pascal is going to make it very, very rough for Sergey Kovalev, then drop your comments below and let me know why. As I said, it wouldn't shock me if that happened. It wouldn't shock me if Pascal gave Kovalev a really good fight or beat him. But in terms of likelihoods, I don't know. I'd be surprised if it happened, but I wouldn't be shocked, you know. So I'm definitely firmly sticking with my prediction of Sergey Kovalev to win this fight. Late stoppage or points. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Drop your comments below. Oh, one thing I have to say, though, is the fight is in Canada. It is in Pascal's backyard. So could there be a controversial decision? Who knows? Drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.